Now, obviously, I want to talk briefly about the time period when you were in Gen.G. Now, it was fairly brief, not least because partly all the online shit, and then obviously the team doesn't even have a squad anymore. It's not just you leaving, right? What would you say about this squad? Because the problem it has is the start was awesome because you had this interesting bunch of players. I will say, by the way, people forget a lot of the players you had in Cloud9. It's just the Cloud9 project like barely had any time and only had a couple of tournaments basically. So you had basically the core of that. You got to like reinvent it. You had the one tournament, the DreamHack Anaheim. On paper, everything's looking awesome here because like even the young player Som is the one who's like the MVP. You win every map. But then basically we immediately went online. You had Flashpoint. People always forget this detail, which is that you actually went home from Flashpoint as well. You were back in Canada, so you were on higher ping. And from that point on, like, listen, there was some alright results that you had, like the Road to Rio or whatever that fucking tournament. You had like one online tournament. But aside from that, like, I think a lot of people thought the project was underwhelming, and obviously you ended up just exiting it towards the end of the year. What would you say about the Gen.G period?
I'm actually surprised people would say it was underwhelming. Like, we won the only LAN we went to, didn't lose a map, and then we won an RMR, which had all the best teams in NA at it, and then we came second in another RMR, losing to EG in the final. I believe EG or Liquid. We beat Liquid, and then we beat Liquid in the semi, and then lost to EG in the final. So, in my opinion, that's like pretty fucking good. Like, most teams that year didn't even win an event.
Sure.
So it's like, and I would say consider it like, in terms of like that dynamic we had online, like we were definitely like a pretty bad online team. Like we didn't really have any players where it's like we got a boost online. Like Tim's very much a LAN player. Even Som was like a LAN player. Just like that camaraderie or like that kind of like feeling we had in that environment was definitely a lot easier for us. Even when we were on boot camp, like we were boot camping in Poland before that Anaheim win. And everything was just sort of flowing well, and like the environment was good and stuff. But like when it got to online, like I just slowly over the year just got more tilted, and just like it was sort of a bittersweet feeling of just like winning your first LAN, and you think like the whole year is gonna like blossom into this nice thing, and then everything just goes to shit, and you kind of like lose that. I don't know. It's like I've played online. I think I've played organized team CS since like 2007. So it's like I don't want to fucking go back to that for like however long. And that's just sort of like in my mind. Like I just couldn't deal with it mentally. Like each online tournament just felt more and more pointless after one after another. Like another, we're playing like I am Cologne online, and I am whatever fucking New York. Like everything's just online, and it sort of just felt more and more meaningless over time, and that sort of like I couldn't really like that was like the main reason, and then it just sort of like fell apart like slowly.
Listen, I see what you mean in terms of you frame the whole year and all the other NA teams, but I'll give you an obvious example. Like the performance at Flashpoint 1 was a joke, mate, and that was a tournament where on paper that's a really weak field. Like North Korea, mate, you've won tournaments that were fucking way better than that. So like on paper, your team was supposed to be a big challenger there. What do you think went wrong with that tournament?
I mean, I don't want to use the ping as an excuse, but like I was playing like 120 ping the whole event. Like I was pretty much useless, like the whole event. I think even Potter said it. Like I remember she asked me a question in an interview, but like seems like you're having trouble holding pit on Inferno in like one match. I'm like, yeah, I have like 130 ping. Like I don't know what you want from me. It's like I'm not gonna make too many excuses, but yeah, like we got like top 6 or something, and it was 4v5. I usually don't frag that much, but I don't play that bad. And then I'm just tilting on top of that, like having to play with the ping, and yeah, it's
right. Obviously, go on. Yeah.
Well, it's just like after that we won the RMR, so it's like
true.
I feel like in better if I stayed in LA and like everything was fine, like we might have a better chance.
Right, along those lines, obviously we don't want to make everything just like blame all the lockdowns, blame the no lands, right? But one thing that I feel like I have to ask about in that context about is Gen.G, the project itself. Because one of the big problems I had with a lot of the Flashpoint stuff from my own perspective from within Flashpoint is some of it I do blame certain orgs. Like I do think some people actually might have just been sort of like saying the right things, but maybe some of them did never want to spend billions and millions on players and get like top European, maybe some of them just told me they did. But at the same time, it is a very easy and a somewhat like effective excuse to say, I also didn't want to do it because it was all online Counter-Strike and, you know, there'd never be any lands. And do I want to spend millions or do I want to, like, obviously the safe move would be you sort of hunker down and you see where things are at in a year, right? Along these lines, do you think this is actually what happened with the Gen.G project? Like, if we were in a world where we hadn't had to go online and go to no lands and stuff, is Gen.G, the project, still running? Are you still in the team, do you think? Do you get the sense that they're sort of wound it down because of the way the year went last year?
I would say in terms of a financial point of view, I think Gen.G was actually the most willing to spend money, just like anywhere. I think the issue Gen.G's management faced was that they were too hell-bent on keeping our lineup the same because we won the only LAN we went to. And I think it was more so a mindset of like, let's just wait till we get back to LAN. But like no one really knew how bad COVID was going to be in terms of like the global scale of it and like how long it's taken to get back to normal. So like for the majority of the year, it was sort of like, let's just wait. And then there was a few changes I wanted to make. And it was like we would lose major points and it's like, it just kept going and going. And then when they canceled the major, that was sort of like the shackles were taken off. You know, it's like, I'm just going to quit. It's like, we're not having fun anymore anyways. It's like, we've missed opportunities to get people. And yeah, that was sort of what I don't think Gen.G was afraid to spend money. It was more so just like, we had success and we won like 2 events, so let's just keep the lineup together as long as we can. But I was trying to like preemptively make improvements, you know.
Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.